We live in a world that's constantly telling us we need more to be happy. More money, more success, more approval, more followers, more everything. But let me tell you something that might just flip your perspective forever. Happiness isn't out there, it's already in you. And it's not complicated. In fact, happiness is simpler than you think. The problem isn't that we don't have access to joy, it's that we've built too many conditions around it. We've wired our minds to believe we'll be happy when we get that promotion, when we find the perfect partner, when we lose 20 pounds, when we prove them all wrong. But what if you could drop all the wins? What if you decided to feel joy right now without needing to earn it, chase it, or qualify for it? See, happiness doesn't come from achieving, it comes from aligning with what matters most to you. Living in truth, showing up fully, and appreciating what's already here. You don't need to travel to Bali or hit $1 million goal to feel alive. You need to connect back to yourself. You need to feel your breath, be grateful for the little things, laugh more often, and stop outsourcing your joy to things you can't control. Happiness is a decision, a choice to see life through a different lens. A choice to trade expectation for appreciation. You don't need a perfect life. You need a powerful mindset. You need to remember that every day above ground is a gift, that someone out there is praying for the life you already have, and that you have the power, right now, to shift how you feel by shifting your focus. You want freedom? Start by freeing yourself from the story that says you're not enough yet. You want joy? Stop waiting and start living. You want peace? Give up trying to control everything and trust that you can handle anything. This moment is all you've got. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. And the truth is, happiness isn't a destination. It's a decision. It's not in the next thing you get. It's in this breath, this smile, this realization that you already have everything you need to feel fulfilled. So don't complicate it, simplify it, slow down, look around, feel it, choose it, because happiness is simpler than you think. Happiness is a choice, not a destination. That simple truth has the power to change the entire direction of your life. So many people spend their lives chasing happiness like it's a prize at the end of a long, grueling race. They believe they'll finally feel fulfilled when they land that job, find the perfect relationship, buy that house, or reach that dream body. But what they don't realize is that by placing happiness in the future, they rob themselves of it in the present. They're living on pause, waiting for some external event to give them permission to feel joy. And the tragedy is, even when they reach those milestones, they often feel empty because happiness was never there to begin with. It was always an inside job. Choosing happiness isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's not about ignoring pain or walking around with a fake smile. It's about recognizing that while you can't always control what happens to you, you can absolutely control how you respond. You can train your mind to find meaning, growth, and even beauty in the mess. And that's what separates those who live fully from those who are merely existing. The ability to choose their emotional state regardless of circumstances. When you make the decision to be happy now, without needing everything to be perfect, you take your power back. You stop being a slave to circumstance and become the creator of your experience. That doesn't mean life won't hit you with challenges. It will. But when your happiness is based on choice rather than condition, those challenges don't shake your foundation. You're not waiting for the world to align. You're aligned within yourself. Most people don't realize that the mind is always scanning for whatever you tell it to focus on. If you constantly tell yourself that happiness will come later, your brain will ignore everything good happening now. But if you begin each day deciding to notice what's beautiful, what you're grateful for, what's working in your life, suddenly, happiness isn't some far-off ideal. It's right in front of you. The most successful people in life aren't those with the most money or fame. They're the ones who have mastered the art of emotional choice. They've learned how to shift their state. They've learned how to focus on what empowers them rather than what drains them. And that's a skill available to anyone right now. The moment you stop saying, "I'll be happy when," and start asking, "How can I be happy now?" everything begins to shift. You start to see that happiness isn't about the destination. It's about the decision. And that decision is yours every single day. We've been taught to believe that happiness is complicated, that it requires achieving something grand or accumulating things that impress others. But in truth, simplicity is what unlocks fulfillment. The more we chase complex formulas for joy, new cars, luxury vacations, constant validation, the more we disconnect from the very source of real happiness, the present moment. The irony is that the more we try to engineer happiness through external means, the more elusive it becomes. But when we strip away the noise, the distractions, and the pressure to perform, we discover something powerful. Happiness has always been rooted in the simple things. Think about the last time you felt truly happy. Not just distracted or entertained, but deeply content. Chances are it wasn't during some over-the-top moment. It may have been during a quiet walk, a heartfelt conversation, a burst of laughter with someone you love, or a peaceful morning with a cup of coffee and nothing to prove. That's not a coincidence. Simplicity creates space for us to reconnect with ourselves, with others, and with life, and in that space, fulfillment lives. The problem is, we live in a culture that glorifies complexity. We've been sold a lie that the more complicated something is, the more valuable it must be. So we overload our schedules, chase endless goals, compare our lives on social media, and tell ourselves that peace and joy will come once we finally get there. But there is no there is only now. And when we pause long enough to see what's already in front of us, we realize how rich life actually is. Happiness doesn't come from accumulation, it comes from appreciation. It's about noticing the little wins, the quiet moments, the simple pleasures we usually overlook. It's about choosing presence over pressure, connection over performance, and depth over distraction. The truth is, we don't need more to be happy. We need less of what doesn't matter. When you simplify your life, you make room for what matters most. You stop numbing out with things that only offer temporary highs, and you start tuning into the experiences that feed your soul. You discover that joy isn't loud, it's calm, it's not flashy, it's real. And the more you ground yourself in simple daily rituals of gratitude, mindfulness, love, and contribution, the more fulfilled you become. So many people spend their lives complicating happiness, layering it with conditions, rules, and expectations. But once you peel all that back, you realize that the human heart doesn't need much. It needs truth, it needs connection, it needs peace, and those things are available not someday, but today, right now. Happiness doesn't have to be earned, it doesn't have to be chased. It simply has to be noticed, felt, and embraced. The key is to stop making it complicated and start making it conscious. Because at the core of every joyful life is one simple realization: you already have everything you need. Achievement is often glorified as the ultimate path to happiness. We're told to grind, hustle, and accomplish more, believing that once we reach a certain level of success, joy will automatically follow. But the truth is, no amount of achievement will create lasting happiness if you're not aligned with who you really are. Alignment, not achievement, is what truly creates joy. When your actions match your values, when your life reflects your truth, that's when real fulfillment begins. There are people who have everything: wealth, fame, status, and still feel empty inside. That's because they climbed a ladder that was leaning against the wrong wall. They chased goals that weren't their own. They did what they thought they were supposed to do, not what they were meant to do, and the cost of that kind of disconnection is massive. You can fool the world with your accomplishments, but you can't fool your soul. If you're out of alignment, if your daily life contradicts your inner values, you will feel a gap, a heaviness, a lack of purpose that no trophy can fix. Living in alignment means being honest with yourself. It means getting clear on what truly matters to you, not what society tells you should matter. It means asking, what kind of person do I want to be, and making choices every day that reflect that identity. Alignment doesn't mean perfection. It means integrity. It means living in a way that's congruent with your heart, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. The beauty of alignment is that it creates natural joy. When you live authentically, you don't need to chase happiness, it starts to flow through you. You feel energized, purposeful, and alive because you're no longer pretending. You're not performing for anyone. You're living in truth, and truth is freeing. It removes the mental weight of trying to be someone you're not. And here's what's powerful. You don't need to change your entire life overnight to find alignment. You start small, you reflect, you realign your priorities, you start saying yes to what fills your soul and no to what drains it. You stop outsourcing your happiness and start reclaiming your inner authority. You realize that the more you honor your voice, your path, and your values, the more joy becomes a byproduct of who you are, not a goal you chase. This kind of joy isn't loud or flashy. It's steady, deep, and unshakable. It's the kind of joy that doesn't disappear when challenges come. It stays because it's rooted in something real, your own truth. That's why alignment is everything. Because when you live in alignment, you don't just succeed, you thrive. You don't just exist, you expand. And you don't just feel happy, you become whole.